Hello? I'm so sorry. Hi, everyone. Hello. Johnson, did you hear me just talk about Janet Museveni? I don't know where I stopped. I don't know where. Somebody remind me where I stopped, please. Did I finish? Did I get into Janet Museveni? Johnson, let me know. I don't know where I stopped. I want to pick up from there. Did I finish Salim Saleh's? Somebody let me know, please. Johnson. Somebody let me know where I stopped, please. Should I start from Janet all over? Oh, Haji Karim? Okay. Haji Karim. Where is that? Was that, did you hear anything about Salim Saleh? Haji Karim was Museveni. Is that how far I stopped? Somebody tell me what you may have last heard so I can see where I left off, please. Did anybody hear anything about Salim Saleh, their assets? You're welcome from northern Uganda. I want to know where I stopped. If you were on the previous video, okay. So I had not started Saleh. Okay, let's go back to, okay. So I'm going to repeat all the assets owned by Museveni under people's names, under proxies, okay? I will go through them fast because we have a bit of time to go here. So all assets of Museveni as owned by other people to try to make Ugandans not seem like, you know, he says that he only earns 3 million. But this is a man who owns assets in almost all the companies in Uganda individually, you know. So 46 Museveni's companies, okay, or where Museveni has shares, or he pretends to have different owners instead of his real name being there. 46% of Sudir's wealth, Sudir, all his wealth, 46% belongs to Museveni. In Uganda, in East Africa, in South Africa, in Europe and America. Everything that's owned by Sudir, 46% of it is owned by Museveni. Okay. Next, 72% of Karim Haji's wealth, 72% belongs to Museveni. And another 10% of that belongs to Janet. If you notice, this is a Muslim guy. Remember, according to their bylaws, they are supposed to hate Muslims. They probably make this Haji Karim work so hard, but he only owns what, 18%? Because 72% of the company is owned by Museveni and another 10% is owned by Janet. Next, 44% of all Mukwano's wealth belongs to Museveni. 44% of all. This is why those Indians, Mukwano, Madivani, Sudhir, Museveni wants to even give them rights in Uganda, give them an official tribe, because they are his proxies in ownership of business and assets in Uganda. So all 44% of Mukwano's wealth belongs to Museveni. 67% of Bidco's wealth belongs to Museveni. 49% of Samona belongs to Museveni. 82% of Quality Chemicals belongs to Museveni. 70% of Ayar groups belongs to Museveni. 100% of J&M hotels belongs to both Museveni and Janet. This one they own outright. All J&M hotels are owned 100% by Janet and Museveni. 13% of Exim Bank shares belongs to Museveni. That is an equivalent of $8.6 billion, not shillings. $8.6 billion is equivalent to 13% of Exim Bank shares owned by Museveni. 41% of Kakira Sugar Works belongs to Museveni. Do you now know why sugarcane has failed in Busoga? Busoga used to thrive because of sugarcane. But since Museveni took ownership of Kakira, 41% of it, Ugandans who grow sugar or sugarcane have made losses. In fact, they've given up growing sugarcane. Pearl Dairies Farms Limited belongs to Museveni 100%. He owns dairies. Remember, Museveni owns 100% of all milk exportation in Uganda. GBK Group of Companies is owned by Museveni 100%. I don't know what they produce or sell, but they're owned by Museveni. Okay? Moving on to Salim Saleh now. You will see also in the assets of Salim Saleh that there's lots of Indian involvement. Salim Saleh owns 66% of Mandela's wealth, which is in City Oils and Java cafes, Cafe Javas. 66% of Cafe Javas and City Oil belongs to Salim Saleh personally. 48% of Tata Motors belongs to Salim Saleh. 62% of Chinyara Sugar Works or Chinyara Sugar belongs to Salim Saleh. This is why I tell you sugarcane has failed in the hands of Ugandans. Manson's Uganda Limited belongs to Salim Saleh. 66% of City Oils belongs to Salim Saleh. 38% of EcoBank belongs to Salim Saleh. That is why they say only EcoBank and Postbank, and there's one other bank, I don't know which one, are the only Ugandan banks that exist in Uganda. The rest are foreign. They only exist because they have shares in them. I'm sure Postbank is probably largely owned by somebody. Okay? Next, Mogas Oils is owned by Salim Saleh. Heritage Coffee Company Limited is owned by Salim Saleh 100%. Mogas Oil is 100% Salim Saleh's. Now, this coffee company makes sense because this is why people like Katikiro Maiga of Buganda goes to the communities of Baganda and tells them he's the only one who's supposed to be buying coffee from them. Because he's going to buy them dirt cheap, sell them to Salim Saleh, and Salim Saleh will then reproduce the coffee, rebrand it, call it Rwandeese coffee, and export it for big bucks, while the farmers get nothing. Because they want Ugandans to get used to having nothing, or just a little bit, so that they can live as poor as possible. 46% plus 20% of Movit investments belongs to Salim Saleh and Muhoozi respectively. 46% of Movit investment belongs to Salim Saleh, 20% belongs to Muhoozi. That makes 66% belongs to Muhoozi and Salim Saleh. That means the Ugandan who is on the other side of this coin only benefits about 38% of the company. Next is Janet Museveni's companies and involvement. 42% of Madvani's wealth group belongs to Janet Museveni. This is why they don't want Indians to leave Uganda. This is why Idi Amin was very wise, because these guys are intertwined with Indians in ownership of assets in Uganda. Instead, even if let's say they wanted to not, just to be a bit lenient, you would think that they would own these assets with a Ugandan. No, these assets they own with other foreigners, not with indigenous Ugandans. That makes it even worse. Had they been improving the lives of some Ugandans, you'd say maybe. But no, they own these assets with other foreign nationals like Indians and so on and so forth, so that they can help them stifle us. That is why people like that Indian guy in, where is that border town? What's the MP from India? What's his name? Tana? Sanjay Tana? That is the influence in Uganda because of the ownership and intertwinement of things like this. 61% of Patrick Vitature's wealth is owned by Janet Museveni. All of you who read the motivational book of Patrick Vitature, you wasted your time, because the wealth was injected by Janet Museveni. 71% of Roofings Limited belongs to Janet Kataha. 65% of Basajja Balava's wealth belongs to Janet Kataha. 80% of Simba Telecom belongs to Janet Kataha. Garden City is 100% Janet Kataha's. The Golf Course Hotel Kampala is 100% Janet Museveni's, Janet Kataha's asset. Rainbow International Schools is owned 100% by Janet Museveni. According to the stipulations in their backbone here, it states that they should have separate education systems where the standards of their schools are higher than the ones of native Ugandans. That's why you don't see Rwandese kids going to Ugandan schools, into UPE or UCE. They go to private-owned institutions like this Heritage International, because apparently they have money that's sent to them from the budget. 15% of the budget goes to them. No matter what is gathered, 15% of whatever the total budget of Uganda is goes to this Rwandese community. Protea Hotels of East Africa, South Africa belongs to Janet and Bitature, 50% each. People who have read this Bitature's motivation, you can erase that, because he did not acquire any of these assets on his own blood and sweat like he says he did. Sam Kahamba Kutesa's assets. Remember, Sam Kutesa is the vice president of the M7 Century Dynasty. Sam Kutesa owns all Uganda air cargo, 100%. So if you ship DHL from the United States to Uganda, all that goes to Sam Kutesa. If a dead body is sent to Uganda from the US, Sam Kutesa gets paid for that. If shipments come from by mail, by air, from a certain place into Uganda, you pay into Sam Kutesa's pocket privately. 37% of ShopRite belongs to Sam Kutesa. 91% of Victoria Motors belongs to Sam Kutesa. Mestil Hotels belongs to Sam Kutesa. Oasis Mall belongs to Sam Kutesa, 100%. Mestil Hotels, 100% Kutesa. Oasis Mall, 100% Kutesa. Pioneer Transporters, 100% Sam Kutesa. Logix International Technical Solutions, 100% Sam Kutesa. Next is Muhoozi Kainerupama's assets in Uganda. 66% of Hamchigundu's wealth belongs to Muhoozi, inclusive of all investments in Uganda, UK, USA, and South Africa. Well, foot soldiers in the United States. Now we know who to look for when we need to get to Muhoozi's assets. All the assets in the US that are for or named some Hamchigundu's, 66% of those assets are Muhoozi's. In South Africa, in Uganda, in the UK, and the USA, 66% of Hamchigundu's assets. That means the stadium, Nachivubo, which they call Ham Stadium, is 66% owned by Muhoozi. That means the Ham Towers in Kampala, that's why no wonder they're trying to ban Owino, so that they can kick all the traders in that region, so that Ham continues to build. In essence, Muhoozi continues to build in the cities of Kampala. Everything that is Ham Chigundu is Muhoozi's. 66%. That means that Ham Chigundu has no right to vote to say yay or nay. You see the difference here? When it is a Ugandan, they have almost nothing. No decision-making power. Anytime a company is owned more than 50% by somebody else, it means the other person who holds more than 50% has the voting rights, and what they say goes. And you who all holds the other end, you have no say. So Ham Chigundu has no say in the assets that he calls Ham's assets, because Muhoozi owns 60%. He owns almost all the rights to all of the assets. 68% of John Bosco's wealth belongs to Muhoozi, including Freedom City. Freedom City of John Bosco, 68% belongs to Muhoozi. 77% of Eagle Air belongs to Muhoozi. I didn't even know that existed, but it must be a small airline. All Skyjet airlines belong to Muhoozi. I don't know what those are either. Orange Telecom is owned 38% by Muhoozi. Kampala Gilliton Suppliers belongs to Muhoozi 100%. Orange Telecom is owned by Muhoozi 100%. Skyjet Airlines belongs to Muhoozi 100%. BPC Chemicals Limited belongs to Muhoozi 100%. 41% of Aponye's wealth belongs to Muhoozi, including Mega Standard supermarkets. %80 of Harris International belongs to Muhoozi and Odrek Rwabogo. Acacia Mall belongs to Muhoozi and Kagame with 50% shares each. Acacia Mall is owned by Muhoozi and Kagame, 50% each. Do you see that all of Uganda is owned by these people in every way? Next, Odrek Rwabogo's wealth in Uganda. 83% of AutoCare belongs to Odrek Rwabogo. 65% of TransLink Uganda Limited belongs to Odrek Rwabogo and Patience. 80% of Harris International belongs to Odrek Rwabogo and Muhoozi. Remember, I mentioned it in Muhoozi's assets. It makes sense because under Muhoozi's assets, it said 80% of Harris International belongs to Muhoozi and Odrek Rwabogo. So that means it is correctly put here under Rwabogo's assets as well. Vehicle and equipment leasing belongs to Odrek Rwabogo. That is why Sama Uganda is on target, because Sama Uganda does some vehicle rentals or transportation here and there. Future Link Technologies belongs 100% to Odrek Rwabogo. Peak Fair Industries belong 100% to Odrek Rwabogo. Tygon Plastics, 100% Odrek Rwabogo. GM Security, 100% Odrek Rwabogo. Canada Uganda Recruitment Agency, 100% belongs to Odrek Rwabogo. Zench Zing Electronics, 100% belongs to Odrek Rwabogo and Sam Kutesa. Elite Computers Limited belongs to Odrek Rwabogo and Frank Tumwibaze, 50% each. Nzeire Kakunda Toyota. So here are Toyota's assets. Remember, Toyota's position in the organization is that Toyota is in charge of internal investments in the country. Let me look at that again. Toyota is the Secretary for Local Investments. It is no wonder he has a lot. His list is the longest of all, because instead of offering it for investment, he probably just signs it upon to himself. Okay? So here is Nzeire Toyota, the list of assets. Sangobe Estates belongs to Toyota. 51% of Toyota Uganda belongs to Toyota. Shell Ankole Limited belongs to Toyota. Cargo International Limited belongs to Toyota. Mech Tools and Equipments belongs to Toyota. 55% of Drake Rubega's wealth belongs to Natasha, Museveni, and Karujide. Okay, I don't know how that comes in, but okay. Oh, okay. Never mind. I think Toyota has those 5 assets: Sango Bay, Toyota, Shell, Ankole, Cargo International, and Mech Tools. And then the rest belongs to Museveni's family, or the miscellaneous list. This is the miscellaneous list of assets that belong to several different people. Okay, so I'll read the list. 55% of Dreg Rurega's wealth belongs to Natasha Museveni and Karujire. Kazinga Channel Office World belongs to Natasha. Homeland Holdings belongs to Natasha Museveni. Listen to this. 72% of Saroma Limited belongs to Diana Museveni. 72% of Seroma Limited belongs to, this is Seroma's son is the owner of the clinic where our member of parliament Kalangala, the late Nachimuli, died in the hands of. Do you see the direct link? Seroma Limited is the father and mother of the guy who runs the clinic where Nachimuli died when she went for an outpatient surgery. You see the link? I understand her husband must be a Mnyarwanda. Anyway, I'm giving you this list so that you know where it is safe to go and where it's not. All right, moving on. 61% of Finance Trust Bank belongs to Diana Museveni. 61. That means she has all the rights, or the major rights. Friends Consult belongs to Diana Museveni. 74% of Pride Microfinance belongs to Patience Museveni. Pride Microfinance is all the way in Gulu, down there, northern Uganda. Is owned by Patience Museveni. Ugaford Microfinance belongs to Violet Kajubiri. Afrokai Limited belongs to Violet Kajubiri. Inline Print Services belongs to Violet Kajubiri. I'm not sure who this Violet Kajubiri is. Graphic Mutation Limited belongs to Violet Kajubiri. Integrated Security Solutions belongs to Eli Tumuine. 100%. When I don't put a percentage, it means they own 100% or outright. Harare Hardware Uganda Limited is 100% owned by Eli Tumuine. Crane Paper Bags belongs 100% to Eli Tumuine. Achilles Uganda Limited belongs to Eli Tumuine. Crown Burgers Limited is 100% Eli Tumuine's. Prestige Electronics Limited belongs 100% to George Kashakamba. Blue Cruise Limited is owned by John Kazora. Oh, Kajubiri is the sister of Museveni. Goodness gracious. Oh my goodness. So Violet Kajubiri is actually part of the, I remember seeing this name. So Violet Kajubiri is the Secretary of External Affairs according to the Board of Leadership of the Dynasty of the Bahima. No wonder she owns a lot of assets. She's the sister of Museveni. I didn't know that. Thank you so much, Johnson. Prestige Electronics is owned outright by George Kashakamba. Blue Cruise Limited is owned by John Kazora. Balia Stint Hardware is owned by John Kazora. Emraj Group Inc. is owned by Molly Kamukama. Kamukama is also on the list of leadership there. Who knows Molly Kamukama? Buick Petroleum Limited is owned by Molly Kamukama. I don't know who that is, but if you know who Kamukama Molly is, let us know. Starlight Energies is owned by John Nasasida. Fitzman Services is owned by John Nasasida. African Queen Limited is owned by Joyce Kutesa. I think this might be a daughter of Kutesa or a wife. Mola Medical Center is owned by Molly Asimwe. Molly Asimwe is also one of the executive members or in the leadership of this organization. Bidia United Agencies Limited is owned by Turiamuhika. Turiamuhika, I don't know, she's also on the list here. Everybody who is on this list of leadership has some shares or is in the leadership or ownership of Uganda as well. Prism Office Supplies is owned by Turia Muijuka, 100%. Simlaw Seeds Company, Uganda Limited, is owned by Estelle Akandwanaho. Akandwanaho has to do with Salim Saleh. East African Seeds Uganda Limited is owned by Caleb Akandwanaho. When you see things that pertain to seeds, it is why Ugandans are given GMO seeds to spoil their crop, because they don't want them to produce quality products. They are given seeds that are not good and unhealthy so that they can produce crop that will make them sick or cannot be sold on the international markets. Trans Paper Limited is owned by Chris Rakakamba. Photogenics Limited is owned by George Nkiriho. Is owned by the M7 Century Dynasty. In fact, I know one of the organizers of this organization. They travel all over the world, different parts of the US. They have a meeting once a year. Now I know never to attend any of this. I almost attended it. Oh no. So that's all that I have about all the properties that are owned, both local and foreign, by the M7 Dynasty, M7 Century Dynasty members who are all over the world and in Uganda. I'm going to share this document. Whoever would like a copy of it, please let me know. That is the end of my share or live today. I wanted to put everything out there. I have another document that I want to go through first before I can share it. It pertains to this ownership strategy also, and I think it's a meeting that happened later. And also, some of these documents have how they're allocating their wealth, how they're promoting themselves, where they're sowing their seeds or hiding their seeds. So I will be bringing that again sometime, maybe this weekend. I'd like to do this in Acholi also. Any of you who receives this and you can say it or read the information in a local language, please do. Please do. This has to go out all over Uganda. Okay? Thank you very much. I love you and leave you. Thank you. Take care. Bye.